Welcome to Shotgun Sports USA. I'm your host, Justin Barker, and I talk to shotgun shooters from all over the world in every discipline, as well as coaches, gun clubs, target setters, vendors, and industry-leading companies that fuel the sport. Check us out online at shotgunsportsusa.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Shotgun Sports USA is powered by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Also brought to you by Ultimate Shooting Accessories, Rick Hemingway's Promatic Trap Cells, Sound Gear Phantom, Comp and Choke, Clay Shooter Supply, Clay Target Vision, and Cole Gunsmithing. We've had a lot of requests to do a show like this. I have Philip Pilla and Dennis Sprenger on to talk about Pilla's high-performance brand and lenses. Which ones work best for you, when, and why. Everything you want to know about gray light, white light, yellow light, and which lenses fit these scenarios the best. It's all in here right now on Shotgun Sports USA. I have Philip Pilla from Pilla Performance Eyewear and Dennis Sprenger on from Clay Target Vision, which is the largest Pilla dealer in the world. And we're here to cover everything you want to know and you need to know about lenses and lens colors. I don't care if you're a pro, if you're a beginner, everyone has questions about what lenses to use and when to use them. Questions like, which lenses are best for my eyes? Which lenses work better in different light? What are the differences in red, brown, purple, and so on and so on? So this is your lucky episode because we're going to get into all of that right now. So first off, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Phil, the older Clay Target shooters will remember this, and it's high-def specs and the original 1 ED lens, which that was what brown and amber, and that came in different light transmissions. And now it's evolved into something totally different. So talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, well, thanks for having us on, and certainly excited to always participate to try and educate the community at large as to what we do. We've been doing it now 35 years, believe it or not. And early on, as most people probably remember, we were high def specs, and we really introduced the idea of a light management system, and the first kit that we put out was actually called the system. And what the idea behind what we were doing was that the eye performs, which is fact, better at different light values when the light is correct for the environment that you're shooting in. So we decided that it was really important to put out our first, technical product that would manage full sun, medium, and low light. And the reality is our first lens, as you point out, was really dark. But what that allowed us to do was really focus in on how we could manage manipulating color to a very large extent. And it's no mystery, the more pigment that you can put in a lens, i.e. the darker the lens, the more you have control of lifting color. And the very first lens that we put out did an amazing job lifting color, but we also found, over time that, a lot of shooters, whether you're older or younger or whatnot, would really want either more or less light, depending on really where they were at. So brown and ED lenses, as we call them now, enhanced definition, we've always called them high def lenses, hence high def specs. We actually changed the name because we were getting bombarded with our competitors' lenses that were being sent back to us, because our competitors were actually calling their lenses high def lenses to kind of usurp what we were doing. And we were taking on a lot of other product that wasn't even ours, that they were having problems with because the story wasn't really matching what the lens performance was. So it was kind of an interesting customer service problem that we originally had, which kind of leads us to really what we do and what we don't do when it comes to lens technology. So we decided to change it to a defensible position, which was our last name, which is Pilla, and we didn't really think that anyone could rip off the position of Pilla lenses. Certainly, there are a lot of people out there that say they got high def, this, that, and the other thing. So it was a good shift. But when we started, color was really what our main goal was, because I think people know that we originally started off of a need that my father had, where he was shooting in Belgium, and this guy was knocking targets at 80 yards, and he clearly couldn't see without a pair of glasses on. And it turned out that he actually was using a technology that was a prescriptive technology for helping correct red-green color deficiency. And that's really how we started, and that's where the light bulb went on, where shooting glasses and sport glasses in general never really took the position of taking color to the max to try and enhance performance. So the combination of really manipulating color and really allowing the eye to perform at its best at different transmittance values, meaning the variance of light that we all find, whether it's high light, low light, gray light, yellow light. There's all kinds of different elements that you need to take into account when you're choosing the right lens so that your eye performs at its best.
How long ago did you start high def specs? When was that?
It was back in 1988.
So how much different is it now? I know it's a lot different, but I mean, how much different is it now versus back then?
Well, it's very different. Back in 1988, we had a card table and a GMC Jimmy that we were running around with one frame and one lens. Now we have over probably, I don't even know, I'm just going to take one right out of my backside here, 8,000 different options as to what we can offer a clay target shooter and a sportsman out there. In terms of variety of what we have to offer. Right now, we have different types of technology in terms of the lenses and frame topologies, but we're really different in that we have evolved from, I think, a boutique type company to a major global player that really prides itself on an engineering position. And we're certainly very different that we are the only shooting and hunting brand in the world that has an engineering relationship directly with Zeiss, and the only one out there that has a Zeiss platform in our entire product line. So we have partnered with Zeiss. We signed an engineering relationship with them in 2012. So we are now in our 11th year with Zeiss, and that particular relationship has benefited us from a company that happens to be the oldest optics company in the world, dating back to the mid-1800s. So we are really blessed to be partnered with a superpower in optics, and we have really pushed the engineering envelope on the company. So, one of the things that really is different, as you ask, is that we've really focused on the engineering. Guys like George Digweed and our own homegrown Anthony Matarese came to us early on in our development, where originally we were just a lens company, and we were doing a ton of lens replacement, whether we were putting it in, any name you want. People were sending us their glasses to take our lenses and put them in. And then George and Anthony came to us and said, hey, listen, we really love what you're doing, but we need a frame topology that's going to work. And that's really when we, gave birth to the Panther system. And now, 24 years later, we really have I think, a multifaceted optical enterprise that, we're quite proud that we outfit, most, I'm going to say 90 plus of the Olympic teams around the world. We're on every podium that any world championship has had to offer, and we have some of the best athletes in the world representing our brand. So, those relationships don't come easy, and we're more critical of our product than our customers.
Yeah, let's back up just for a second. You brought up the Zeiss technology. Okay, let's clear that up, because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, this glass company over here has Zeiss lenses, and this company has Zeiss lenses, and then Pilla has Zeiss." So, clear that up for me.
Yeah, this one's easy for me. We are the only company out there that has an engineering relationship with Zeiss. Zeiss as a brand, you know Zeiss from the blue shield in their logo. Zeiss is a very specific product that has extremely high standards and regulations to be able to utilize their brand and their IP. There is a company out there called Carl Zeiss Sunlens Vision out there that makes a ton of private label product, not unlike any other major multinational company out there that has multiple divisions. We have the only Zeiss product. There's a lot of people out there that if you've got $1 to spend and you want to go buy the yellow lens or the red lens off the shelf from Carl Zeiss Sunlens, you can go and buy that. And there's tons of companies out there that buy those kinds of lenses. They don't have to hold up to any standard, any regulation, any QC, no marriage of the frame to the lens topology, so that you can actually get certified optics from the Zeiss engineering team that we're putting together. It's a completely different approach. To be perfectly frank, a lot of our competitors and other companies out there take a halo effect and try and get away with what I would call, the sneaky marketing approach to say, hey, listen, we buy our lenses from this, overall company called Carl Zeiss Vision Sunlens, and they all of a sudden are in the business of selling Zeiss lenses, which is complete nonsense. And we've gone to task a couple times to take some of our opponents out there in the global space to task on manipulating the marketing, but there's the proof is in the pudding, because if you look on the backside of all our lenses, there's a Z in script on the backside of the lenses that certifies that the lens is from Zeiss. So any of those other guys out there, they're saying they have Zeiss lenses, just ask them to turn the lens over and show you how it's been certified by Zeiss, and they're not going to be able to do that. So the reality is, in the old days, before I started doing the family business, I was on Madison Avenue, and we actually called that puffery, or the power parity claim, and that's all just nonsense when people say that they've got a product that they don't. But at the end of the day, we do have an unbelievable relationship with the engineering team at Zeiss, and we continue to evolve our product, and we're benefited from engineering that's second to none.
Well, Dennis is on with us also, and he's my go-to guy when I want to see what lens is going to work best for me. And he's one of the most knowledgeable guys that I've ever talked to when it comes to this. And Dennis, welcome to the show, and tell me your background in sporting clays, how you got involved in this sport.
Well, I guess even in high school, my parents didn't, my dad didn't hunt or anything, but I always had a love for wing shooting. So I started out as a young duck hunter and loved, shooting a shotgun more than anything, and was around since the beginning with sporting clays when everything was hand thrown and things like that, and just always, loved shooting a shotgun. But as time went on, as much as I loved the sport, I became a chromatic trap dealer. And so years ago, Rick Hemingway and I used to go back and forth who would be number one in chromatic trap sales. So I've been in the industry a long time, and it goes back to I answered an ad in the back of a magazine for somebody looking for somebody to sell glasses, and Phil's dad answered the phone, and that's where our relationship started between the Pillas and myself. And they've, since the beginning, I mean, Phil's dad, he would always tell me, Dennis, you can't sell out of an empty basket, and, would always, help me out from the beginning. And, the support that I've gotten from Pilla has helped me, grow this business. And it's something that I love. I love the sport. It's a tight knit community, and I just love being a part of it.
We mentioned earlier that you're the largest Pilla dealer in the world. How did you make Clay Target Vision so successful and being able to obtain that title?
A lot of times, when you see somebody successful, and I'll have to go to Phil, I've seen Phil, what's made Phil successful, and it's a lot of hard work. But I think it's multiple reasons, and number one is family. And, it starts with, a wife of over 40 years that, wakes up every morning hearing packaging tape at 5 a.m. And you've
That's a keeper.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Justin, you've met my daughter now,
right?
Who's a big part of the business. She was on the phone with me 2 minutes ago. Dad, did you get this prescription in? Did you do this? Did you, and so there's multiple reasons. Belonging to Northbrook Sportsman's Club, having all those brothers and sisters at that club, it's just not one thing. It's a big support system, and then always striving to never be content and really focus on customer service from the beginning. I just knew that, I started Clay Target Vision, really the online, like when COVID was, and I told Phil, I said, I want to become the largest dealer in the world. And he would tell me stories about, Dennis, he goes, I got people that buy, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product, or, and I kind of knew who my competition was worldwide, what it was going to be, but I set a goal out a long time ago, but it wouldn't be possible if it wouldn't be for, family, which includes the Pilla family and a lot of friends in the business, that really helped me. And I think our focus on customer services has helped us a lot. That's
one thing that I noticed right off the bat the first time I talked to you was how good your customer service was. I could call and say, Dennis, I need a lens, and it was 2 days and it'd be sitting in my office. Your customer service is without a doubt some of the best that I've seen.
Yeah, I would actually echo Justin that, customer service, obviously Dennis and his family have got all that, and the operations and what they're doing and that kind of thing. And they are, one of the dealers that we have that basically has a complete reflection of what's in our warehouse. So they have a complete line. They've got all the lenses, the frames, so there's nothing that you're not going to get from them. But I do think that the success really stems more from Dennis being one of, our oldest dealers. The reality is he knows the product and he knows how to use it. And I think that that's appreciated by the community at large, because there's a lot of people around the world that resell our product based on the brand reputation that we've put out to really have a no compromise product, and people gravitate to the product because of the quality of it. But when it comes to guidance and understanding how to use our system and our technology and what's going to be most appropriate for you, not only where you are shooting, meaning environmentally, whether you're, in a really sort of desert situation or in the Northeast in the woods, he has a repertoire of understanding of what we do and the technology and how to utilize it, which I think really is what makes the difference. We have a ton of really good, solid dealers around the world, but one of the things that truly differentiates Dennis and his operation is they understand the product inside and out, and they also have educated themselves on what really does make us different, and they can communicate that. Yeah. And I think that that's probably one of the things that really has contributed to their sort of rocket ship success with what they're doing. So, I think it's the totality of the package that you're obviously seeing, but there's a knowledge base there that is completely complementary to what the ethos of Pilla is all about and the products that we're bringing to the market.
Yeah, it's funny. I was at Northbrook Sports Club for the North Central Regional, and I was hanging out with Dennis at his little setup he had there, and I watched him work with a guy who was shooting Pilla glasses, and it was nothing to benefit him. So after Dennis was working with him, had him try on several different, lenses, he landed on the 47 CIHC, which is an unbelievable lens for me. It's something new for me. I found Dennis showed it to me. I love shooting with it, and it was just neat to see, hey, try this. He'd ask questions about the guy's eyes, and I can remember him asking, how far are your pupils apart from each other, and stuff like this. It's just amazing to know the kind of questions he asks to get the information from the shooters so that he knows how to fit them with glasses.
I think for me, when I work with customers, a customer will always ask me a question, and it seems like I have 3 more questions before I can even answer one question to them, because, I think the biggest hurdle that I have trying to sell Pilla, with people say, boy, there's so many choices and I just don't know, where to start. And I always say it's like a pair of shoes. You can get through life with one pair of shoes, but you're going to get yourself in a situation where you wish you had a different pair. So I just try to focus on really reading the customer and seeing how they're wired. Phil was really good with me early on and explaining that. And the thing that people don't realize is that we all have different rods and cones in our eyes. So even though we all can say it's a color green, there's different colors that help us see orange better. And so when a customer comes to me and asks me, for some lens choices, first thing I ask them, what color targets are you shooting? How light sensitive are you? What colors have you used in the past that work for you? And so just with a few good answers, I can normally get them to get product that my goal is to have that customer be totally happy. And if they get something they're not happy, I tell them, you let me know, and we just do what we have to do to make sure they're happy. And that's that's one thing that I wish I could somehow get people to realize, that we all see color different.
Phil, you have so many different lenses to choose from. How does someone figure out what they need?
The bottom line is what we've done over time is, we're really focused on what's going to be most efficient for the shooter in the environments that they're shooting in, and really marrying that to light. And, it's kind of funny because over time, there's been companies out there that have tried to come into the space, or actually existing, players, that they put out a lens and they're like, okay, well, historically, a shooter would come and say, hey, listen, I need a yellow lens, I need a red lens, and I need a brown lens, and can you send that to me? And well, yeah, anyone can send you a yellow lens, a red lens, and a brown lens that they just peeled off the shelf. And one of the things that I think, is kind of emblematic of the way we do things, unless it's baked perfectly, we don't put it out. So for years, I'm talking like 10 plus years, 15 years, we had customers come to us and be like, damn, we really love your lenses. The brown ones, they do amazing. And the Max Orange lenses, they're phenomenal. But why don't you all make a yellow lens? Or why don't you make a purple lens? And we just never made them because they weren't good enough. And the reason is because it's just not, let's take out some food dye and make some colored lenses like we're dyeing Easter eggs, and away you go. It's a completely different type of process because there's a multitude of things that go into how we put stuff together. And one of the added benefits that we have is we have the shooting base out there. Where, we have Olympic gold medalists, we have 27-time world champions, we've got 29, all-American type shooters, over the years. And, we can go on and on and on. We probably could, the group of us probably could do 400 shooters right now globally that are worth their salt, that wear our stuff. And the reality is that's all because of the way that we've articulated what we do on our lenses. And I guarantee you, every single one of them uses a different kind of lens. And I know the shooters well enough where I can tell you that specific lens is used by this shooter and this lens is, used by this shooter, because all these guys see things very differently. And when you put something together, it is both a bench exercise, meaning we can go into the software and manipulate how we're going to see color on a spectral curve, but it's the combination of how you actually put all the elements together to make color truly come alive. And if you overdo it or underdo it, there's companies out there that can knock your socks off with, getting this unbelievable boost in color, but it's not going to do anything for your vision. And the reality is the attenuation of being able to do that in a restrained manner to get maximum performance really is an art. And that's something that we've been really honing over the last, 25 plus years. Doing this is really articulating how we want to do color. So yellow lenses always washed the sight picture. Purple lenses that were put out in the market collapsed your depth of field. There was a whole myriad of different iterations that we actually had to manipulate the science to get a positive result where none of these adverse sort of realities would affect the lens performance. So we, for years, never had some of these things. Now we're certainly, benefited from a complete suite of lenses where we've come up with a nomenclature that is baked into our delivery of our lenses. So the numbers on the lenses equate to what's called the luminous transmission of the lens, i.e. the amount of light going through the lens. So our 9.5 lens only allows 9.5% of the light through the lens, where our 92 allows 92% of the light through the lens. And then we've gone through different characteristics of how we want the lens to perform, where we've coined neutralizer, which is our N lenses, which basically kill green for lenses that really need to perform where you have a lot of foliage, or these backdrops where you want to suppress that color so that you can get more separation between the target and the background. We have HC lenses, which stands for high contrast, where you want to put an enormous amount of contrast, and certainly as the science evolves, the more contrast that you can put into a lens inherently, the better performance you're going to get out of the lens. But we've really focused on bringing the science and the nomenclature to really articulate a language for our lens design. So those particular types of things are really something that really differentiates us. Our max lenses really concentrate on an accelerated nature of pushing a very specific piece of the visual spectrum that relates to yellow and orange to a large degree. But what we've found over time is that you really have to pay attention to how much you can push the levels of the color spectrum so that the eye still has what we would call true definition and clarity and the crispness. I think most of the people put on our lenses are like, holy cow, I see better with your lenses on than I do without the lenses, because we're introducing a whole host of technology, but it's that crisp, really clear, accurate lens reproduction that your eye sees is something that I'm really proud of that we've been able to do over the years.
All right, so you're talking about the number, the lower the number, the less light, the higher the number, the more light for the people listening that comes through the lens. Okay, I want to talk about these letters after it. You brought up some of them, but let me just bring up a couple lenses and tell me what it means. So the 47 CIHC, what does that CIHC mean?
Yeah, the C stands for Chroma shift, which is the latent technology that we have with Zeiss that really is the color manipulation of what we do. So the way that we actually bend color and make you see color, we call that enhancement of the technology Chroma shift, and we developed that with Zeiss. The I actually stands for infrared, which is a coating technology that we introduced about 3 years ago. We originally introduced it, I think, just on 3 lenses. And my father and I, we kind of tiptoed into this because I knew it kicked ass. It's kind of the way that we do things, and it drives dealers like Dennis of ours crazy. But we slowly introduce stuff, and we've been really very diligent about the way that we've run the business over the years. So we take baby steps, but occasionally we come across something. Like this past year, we came across the Red Hot Chili Pepper lens, which is one of our best lenses to date. And I just knew out of the box after we got some of the production samples and we tweaked this thing. And just so you know, this is not something that we go into the kitchen and 2 hours later we come out with a recipe and we're like, yeah, boom, that's it. We literally work on these lenses for over a year and a half with Zeiss. I'm already working on lenses that we're going to be launching a year and a half from now. So the reality is it takes a while to really get these things baked properly, so to speak. But the infrared deal, we kind of limped into this, but when I first started working with it, there's a magic that happens between the coating technology and the pigments that we put in the lens. And when you combine these things correctly, it is unbelievable what happens. And we did it to start and limp into it, and we put it out there, and I shit you not that we sold out of the stuff like in a month and a half. Every single dealer went through, cycled through it, and we were like, oh boy, we don't have anything on the backside of this. We got to go back and make more cookies. But the reality is we really try and be diligent about introducing stuff. But once the eye, which in the nomenclature stands for infrared, which is a very specific technology that we tweaked and developed with Zeiss over the past couple of years, we have really migrated it across the platform now, because it really has a special element that complements what we're doing with the color technology and the native lens, and then also how we can manipulate it with the coating to not only cut glare, but increase actual visual registration. And it has just, it's kind of like the perfect cherry on a sundae. It just finishes the lens beautifully. So that's something that the eye represents. So the CI-HC, Chroma Shift Infrared, HC is high contrast. So it's a real high contrast lens. So we're actually putting more effort in to differentiate color so that there's a separation in color, which actually gives you more definition and contrast. So that's that particular nomenclature that we are slowly, you'll see the eye in a lot of our lenses right now. And we've got more coming.
Okay, so the next lens, all right, that's one of my favorites so far, is the 47 CIHC. The next one is a 19 CIN. Now, I'm assuming that means 19 Chroma Shift Infrared Neutralizer.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because we really pride ourselves in being an engineering type company. And like I said, I mean, it drives guys like Dennis and our dealers crazy, but we kind of have been dancing around this transmission value of, let's just say 20%, where we had a 20 CN, and then we had a 22 CN, and then we went to a 22 CIN, and then we had a 19 CIN, and really what we're doing is we're continually manipulating that particular spectral curve for that specific lens. And you 100% are right, it's a Chroma Shift Infrared Neutralizer, and the infrared element on the neutralizer platform really brought that lens alive. And the 19 CIN is one of our top selling lenses. We're actually sold out of it right now, much to my dismay. But you know, the reality is that lens really is a special lens. And what's really great about it is the infrared has a glare reduction element to it. So what you want to do is you want to get pristine registration on a target. And you got guys out there, it doesn't matter who it is. You can name any of the American shooters or, you know, international shooters. They'll always talk about seeing the bird, right? And seeing the bird means that you want definition and accuracy on the dimples and the edges and the rings on the target and all that kind of stuff. Seeing that stuff and truly seeing it, the better and more accurate the visual representation is of that, the easier it is to concentrate, register, lock on, and see it with clarity. That's what the infrared coatings are allowing us to do while enhancing the color profile. So the nice thing about our neutralizer platform, which, you know, you've seen us proliferate, where we first came out with one purple lens, so to speak, in sort of the vanilla vernacular of a purple-based lens. We don't really call them purple lenses. We call them neutralizer lenses because it's more accurate. That particular color spectral curve kills green inherently, but to the degree that you kill green and enhance orange or pink or lime or any of the, you know, variety of targets that are being thrown right now, that particular lens maintains depth of field. And for this sport, depth of field is everything. You know, you want to be able to kind of gauge, is this a 15, 20, 40, 50 yard target? collapsing depth of field, you're basically just putting a blindfold on most shooters if you can't really have maintenance of depth of field. And over time, a lot of lenses out there have compromised shooters' ability to maintain that depth of field focus.
So, Dennis, what would you say to someone that has an older 20 and they came out with a 22 and now they're back to a 19? Do they need to get rid of that 20 and start shooting with a 19? What would you say to someone like that?
Well, at first I'd come with a question: how's the 20 working for you? You know, if anybody's watched any of my videos or talked to me, I was never on your first 3 lens. I wasn't too big on neutralizers because I really wanted to focus on you seeing that color well. But like Phil said, you know, the technology that he keeps, you know, improving and improving. I mean, short story. I was at Northbrook at the Illinois State Shoot, and I normally like to see if oranges work for them or if reds work for them. And so I always start with like a 55 PWC or a 47. Well, I had, you know, a lady that neither one, but so I brought out that new 52 CIN is the lower light version of that 19 that Phil's talking about.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, she really liked that 52. And I was kind of shocked. So shocked that when I went and shot at Northbrook, I grabbed the 52, and compared to neutralizer lenses of the past, I cannot believe it grays out the greens, but what it does to orange was just shocking to me. So now when I start working with colors, I have to include that 52 CIN in one of my first picks when I work with customers, because like Phil said, that 19 CIN, the 52 CIN, they're really special lenses, and he might be sold out of them, but I'm not.
See, there you go.
I've only shoot with 2. Actually, I carry 3 lenses with me. One of them is a 19 CIN X6, a 19 CIN Top Gun, and then the 47 CIHC. So I guess I need a third lens, but I like the 19 CIN so much I have it in the Top Gun and the X6 lens.
Phil, real quick, Phil, talk about that Top Gun. Just, you know, tell them how I thought you were crazy when you came out with that.
Well, here's the deal. And the reality is what you want, the ultimate, if you could, I don't know if there's anyone out there that's a SpongeBob fan or has kids that SpongeBob is on all the time. They have this little squirrel that has a fishbowl on her head and her name's Sandy, right? If you could actually take a filter and put it in a fishbowl and stick your head in it and still be able to mount a gun, which I know is impossible, but that kind of experience allows the eye to perfectly relax and appreciate filtration. And being able to appreciate filtration in peripheral vision is the key to success for the motor operation of the eye to acquire a target. So when you can see stuff in your periphery sooner, faster, you can get on the target sooner and faster. And that happens when the eye is being benefited by the filter of the lens. The other thing is we've moved to a larger lens format in the Top Gun specifically for that, so that you have more lens to be able to have the eye appreciate the filter in the extremities. And the very first pair of glasses that I had in the Top Gun, I called up a good friend of mine, Mr. George Digweed, and I said, George, I just got the new glasses in. I need you to take a look at them. Can you at least, do me a favor? When you come over, I'm going to ship them to your hotel, put them on. He goes, no problem. I got a call when he arrived, and he said, Philip, this is unbelievable. I've never seen like this. And I said, George, well, thank you. Please give them a go. And he goes, and this is one of these guys, and shooters left, right, and center. Some don't change their underwear. Some don't change their shoes. They don't do, there's going to be a mix in something. Rarely does something happen before a major competition. George took those, obviously went out and won his latest world championship wearing those glasses. And one of the things that he immediately said, which really made me feel great, was because that was the design of the Top Gun, was I see stuff in the periphery that I've never seen. And that's really what the hallmark of that particular glass is. It has a really cool venting technology to help prevent some steaming and those kinds of things, but the overall lens design is really phenomenal in terms of the size. And one of the things that's very different about it, it's one of the largest format, optically correct in the periphery with perfection that's on the market. And we also integrated a new nose with the Top Gun, where we use a full silicone saddle that really enhances the comfort of wearing a pair of glasses, and it also anchors it right on your nose. So it's one of those pairs of glasses that you put on and you kind of immediately transport yourself into that fishbowl kind of experience where complete filtration to benefit. And we selected right now 17 of our top formulations in that specific model, but just the architecture of the design of that particular pair of glasses has really been a runaway success for us. So on a global footprint, the Top Gun is really taken off for us pretty amazingly. And that was one of the things when we started the year. We were pushing real hard to get that particular product into play as soon as possible. We've been working on it for quite some time. Again, with Zeiss, the reality is getting a large format mask like that is really difficult to make it optically correct. And the Zeiss engineering team just kept pushing us back to the drawing table to get the marriage of the frame geometry and the lens all done properly. But that product is a sweet pair of glasses.
Would you say that a pair of Top Gun lenses with the Copa frames would be your best setup so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Copa hinge, is one of those things that we've already been through a second engineering exercise on the Copa hinge, and the reality is the Copa hinge allows you to tune the glasses. So from a design perspective, I think it's a wonderful addition. And what it allows you to do is change what's called the panoscopic angle of the glass. So you can either tilt it to your cheek or more towards your forehead. And the reality is when you're looking through an element like a lens, the more parallel your eye is to the backside of the lens, the better registration you have utilizing the lens. So the original thinking behind it was to tune the lens when you're in the gun so that you could actually get a more pristine registration of the lens. Inherently, what's happened is it demonstrably changed the comfort and the fit factor, because when you have the hinge of the Copa being able to sort of bend down or tilt up, it immediately customizes the frame and the lens setup on your face. So people's bridges are higher, lower, some are bigger, some are smaller, and what it really allows you to do is kind of get that perfect sweet spot on your nose to wear the glass. And then the Copa is also adjustable in the temple, so you can pull the temple tips out to adjust length. So the Copa really is a completely adjustable frame, and then it also really benefits people that are using our inserts because you can actually tune the attitude and the level of the corrective insert. So it's definitely a fantastic product in totality. So yeah, I would agree that that's definitely our most customizable and high-end performance aspect to our glasses. Yeah.
All right, so I want both of you kind of chip in on this next one. Gray light, white light, yellow light. There's all kind of different lights. Can you explain what this means?
Sure. We have always been at the forefront of differentiating light. We introduced the concept of light management way back when we started, so that the eye is perfectly relaxed. For years, and I always had to laugh at this because, guys would be out there saying, damn, I want to allow the most light into my eye I possibly can. And the guys are out there squinting because they're got this high transmittance lens and they can barely see. And the reason that they can't see is because they start to squint. And as soon as you start to squint, you lose focal ability. So having the right light management lens in front of your eye so that it's perfectly relaxed is extremely important. So one of the things that goes along with this is how much light and what color light you're trying to filter in. And we've come to the realization that yellow light, which is basically what the sun puts out, unencumbered by clouds, overcast, all that kind of stuff, is a way to tune the lens. Then gray light, obviously, is overcast. And then you have white light that's actually filtered through cloud cover. So you have different values, and the actual hue of the light changes the way that a lens performs. So it's a pretty critical element to being able to select the right lenses. So not only you have transmittance value being figured out, well, it's really bright or it's not so bright, or the sun is lower but it's still yellow light. We tend to really look at how we engineer our lens technology to be able to take advantage of those situations. So a lens like our new 92 CIL, which is Chroma Shift infrared lime lens, is one of our top selling gray light, flat light lenses, because that lens was really tuned to be able to take advantage of those particular situations, where a lens like our 80HC is just a low light lens that is more appropriate for a yellow light situation, just not a hell of a lot of light being available. So there's different ways to take a look at how you're utilizing the technology in not only the environment, meaning it's blue sky, green background, desert, all those kinds of things, but also the kind of light that you're experiencing in those particular environments.
Dennis, see if you can do this off the rip. Can you give me 4 or 5 lenses to use in each situation?
Well, I mean, specifically, like I said, it matters, if reds work for you or if oranges work for you. I think Phil could do a better job of that. My point is, like, going back to contrast, like Phil was talking about high contrast.
Mm-hmm.
You always got to remember, you'll always see HCs by your greens and your reds. You won't see high contrast besides other lenses. So it's, and another word for contrast is separation, and that's what we're always trying to do. Like Phil can tell you, Phil, I talk to Phil probably more often than he wants me to, but I definitely, my personal opinion when it comes to yellow light or in the sun, I'm always going to go with any ED, because to me, when you have that much pigment in the lens, I just love the balanced approach. We can get into a lot of hot lenses like a 24 CMX or a 28 CR, and they have the right light transmission for sun, but when it comes to balance, I'll always go with an ED for the yellow light. And when it comes to like gray lights and white lights, I'm going to leave that to Phil, because I like his answers, because he just understands it that well.
Well, the enhanced definition lenses, Dennis is spot on. A brown amber lens really is the whole, basically the base color, if you will, of the way that we articulate our enhanced definition lenses. So they're extremely balanced lenses, and a lot of pro shooters out there, whether it's a Corey Cruz or an Anthony Matarese or Zach Kienbaum, or you pick any American shot out there. The reality is, and it's kind of fun because you got guys like Wendell Cherry, who just came to us in the last year and a half, mm-hmm. and they have really absorbed the technology and the utility of it. But these guys want pristine, really crystal clear, sharp imaging. And the articulation in our enhanced definition lenses in yellow light produces that. There's not a lot of need for over cranking the way that you see color when you have a lot of yellow light. So you tend to find an enhanced definition lens in yellow light doesn't need to manipulate color to a large extent. Yes, we still have a nod to the piece of the visual spectrum that relates to the target, but we've basically buoyed the entire boat so that all color becomes more saturated and more vibrant. And that's what produces that crystal clear image in yellow light. For guys that really are looking for the wow factor of being able to really zone in on the target and get that help, because maybe their eyes are not as fast, they're not shooting with more regularity, they're not shooting 3-4 times a week, and they just want to be able to see it well and get to it fast because they're shooting once a week or once a month, those kinds of things. Our Max technology, which we've introduced the Chroma Shift platform to, which is a more enhanced color technology, but those lenses like our 29 CIMX or our 24, which is a really hot lens, we've really pushed right to the limit, because if you push too much, you get what's called a luminescence on the target that almost vibrates, and it actually defeats the clarity of it because you're vibrating color too much. So we've really articulated the 24 CMX to the point where you've got great registration, but you haven't overdone it. But the 44 CMX, which is our medium light condition lens, and then the 64, those are kind of like the wow lenses for the guy that really wants a huge amount of pop in the target and want to be able to see it well, fast. And those lenses will work great in yellow light, as well as some white light situations, depending on really where the guy is from an eye color standpoint, and really what the environment is they're shooting in. But when you get to the high contrast lenses, those lenses are workhorse lenses, like our 54 CIHC, which is Chroma Shift infrared high contrast lens, or our 47 CIHC. Those particular types of lenses really have manipulated color to the point where you've got those situations where light has changed from its native sort of yellow state, where we're starting to really want more manipulation of color and enhancement so that you can deal with a flat light situation. And really what flat light is doing to the eye, it's robbing it of definition and articulation of being able to register. So those high contrast lenses are always ridiculously good lenses in a white and gray light situation, and then you just need to manage how much light you're dealing with. So you start getting down to, like, one of my favorite new introductions was the 68 CIHC, which is a lighter version of our 47. We had people coming to us, man, the 47, I think universally, I would say 8 out of 10 shooters who look through our lens are like, the 47, man, that lens is great, but can we get a lighter, higher transmission version of it? It took us a while to get to the 68, but that lens is doing really well for us, and that's where I say you're taking a gray, low light situation and really doing well with contrast. So, I could go on for a couple hours as to why each lens is really, very specific. But, the reason that we have over 50 different formulations is, the reality is we have different technologies for different situations. Shooters are different. Shooters see color different. And sort of the guidance and sort of the, let's just say, the check the box, go down the question list that Dennis implements really well will get you to the right lens. And then one of the things that we haven't talked about, but really is the hallmark of the Pilla Zeiss platform, is our CGR lenses, which are our glare reduction lenses. Those lenses are absolutely phenomenal because what we've done with them is we've articulated a science to peg reflected light so that you get the best definition out of what you're seeing. But those particular lenses we have, full sun, medium, low light, and different sort of yellow, gray, and white light type lenses. But we really take a look at it from all angles. And certainly, like I said, I mean, the depth of the portfolio, has some of our dealers, going a little nuts. But at the end of the day, it's really about finding the right lens, the highest performance situation for a very wide cast net. Because, we're selling lenses in the desert. We're selling lenses in the mountains, and we're selling lenses, across, the world. So there's not a one size fits all approach to lens technology, and certainly a 3-lens platform out there saying it's going to do everything is never going to get the job done.
Yeah, if you go to Dennis's website, claytargetvision.com, his daughter made a pretty neat chart that can kind of guide you in, if you want the browns or the purples or the reds or the yellows, and he classifies them, or I guess what you call it, under each one of those colors, so you can kind of see what lens is in what color family as far as the color of the lens. So I think that's pretty neat, that she came up with that. It's definitely helpful. When I saw it, I thought it was pretty neat.
That's a good chart.
Yeah. So, my whole thing is, just always remember that, the high contrast, that really does help. That's probably why you and I both shoot 47 CIHCs, Justin.
Oh, I love that lens. I'm telling you. And the best thing to do, because I really don't understand all these numbers. I mean, I get that it's the numbers or the amount of light that comes through the lenses, but what I need is what I can always call Dennis and say, hey, what do you have that'll do this, that, or the other? And he can tell you exactly what you should be shooting with and what you may like, what you may not like. So, and that's what I find fascinating about him, is he's very knowledgeable about it. And if you have any questions, you need to call him or email him, and he'll get you the right answer for sure.
No, I appreciate that, Justin.
Let me ask you this question. All right, Phil, I know you just said that 3 lenses, you don't need more than 3 lenses. If you had to pick 3 lenses right now to go shoot with, pick them.
That's a tough one, because I actually really like our technology that cranks orange. So if I was going to go select 3 lenses to go shoot with, I'd choose our 29 CIMX. I just love that particular lens. It's got a really nice bump and target orange. And it's just a really crystal clear kind of approach to me. Our 52 CIN would definitely be one that I'd have in there. And then our 92 CIL. So, that would be my kit that I would go with. You'll notice that I don't have any ED lenses in it, because I'm one of those guys that is praying that there'll be a day that I can go out and shoot, 5+ days a week. But doing what we're doing, that doesn't really help the cause in total, because I'd be, neglecting what we really do. But, one of the things I think that really is different about us than everybody else out there is we do the sport. We grew up knee high to a grasshopper shooting, and we've always loved and done it. So I'm actually proud that we're a company that services glasses to the shooting community, and we actually do it. So that would be my kit. But the reason that's my kit, because I need the most help I can, to see that target quick and fast with the most amplification. So, I'm one of those guys I was talking about that, shoots, a couple times a month and not with regularity. So when I go out, I really want to see the thing really quick and bright. But that would be my kit.
What frames would you choose?
My frame of choice is the Copa. I just love the tuning of it. When you do a pair of glasses, you kind of shoot the middle, so to speak, for fit, and that's just the nature of it. I mean, if you're selling, globally, I mean, we need to fit, faces in Asia, we need to fit faces in Europe, we need to fit faces in the US, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. And when you're making a fixed frame that doesn't have an articulated hinge in it, you're always going to have a slight compromise. So yeah, we have an Outlaw 6 and an Outlaw 7, and they dictate the size and the geometry of the frame design. But when you can actually custom tailor the frame to your face, that's a big benefit. And I just love the way that frame allows me to kind of get a real good fit on my face. So, that would be it. And the Top Gun is really a product that I've been waiting for years, because the larger lens format is kind of funny, because the Outlaw is bigger than the Panther, And when we introduced the Outlaw, which is now the lion's share of the business, it's about, on a global footprint standpoint, the Outlaw is about 65% of our business, and in that style glass, and the Panther is 35. But the reality is, when I first introduced the Outlaw, which was an oversized concept to the Panther, I would say 9 out of 10 dealers told me, man, that ain't gonna fly. Nope, not gonna happen. It's just too big. And I was like, well, something, it's not big enough. And that really has taken, its place in the shooting community. And now, if we're having this conversation next year at this time, I'm going to say that the Top Gun is going to take the same trajectory. It's just from a technical standpoint and from just a ergonomics for your face and the way that your eye is able to utilize a filter, it's just a better technology.
Yeah.
So that's kind of really where we're heading.
All right, Dennis, your turn. What's your 3 lenses and your frames?
Well, for me, I am going to go with an ED. So for me personally, 61 years old, I like a little more light to my eyes. That 26 CIED is just the best. And I would go with the 47 because it works for me. But if it was someone else, I'd probably recommend the 54 CIHC because it's an orange-based lens with rose in it that has that high contrast. That probably I feel more comfortable recommending probably the 54 than the 47.
Yeah, I'll jump in there because Dennis is a big proponent of that particular filtration, and it is definitely one of our top 5 selling lenses. But it's a derivation of the 52 CHC.
Right.
So,
it's a 52 CHC on steroids.
Yeah. So and that's another thing kind of earlier on in our conversation with us continuing to incrementally make stuff better. The 54 is the evolution of the 52 CHC, which is universally a lens that a lot of people out there really love. And the 54 is just a new version of it that just has that extra sort of bite to it.
Yeah.
And then for my low light, as far as, Phil, obviously that 92 CIL, it was a 92 CHCL, which was a high contrast. Reds and greens will give you a high contrast. I'll go with that 84 because I just think the 84 will give you, anytime you have a low light lens, you don't have a lot of pigment in the lens to accelerate color, but that little bit of pink in there can really help give you a little bump in orange, and it being reds, it gives you that high contrast that 26 CIED, 54 CIHC, and 84 CHCG is my pick. And then as far as
the 84 too, but Justin only gave me 3.
Right.
the watermelon lens, I really like that lens.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And then of course the frame for me would be the blade frame.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Phil about this blade frame 2-3 years ago, and I said, Phil, I just want something simple that works. And there is always an appeal. A lot of people love the Panther X7 because of the simplicity, especially women. And the frame wasn't in their hair, through their hair, under their hair, and Phil made this blade frame for me, which comes in like half the weight of a forked frame. So you put a blade frame on with a Top Gun with a nose saddle, I'm telling you, it's just, it just works. And so, I like the blade frame. Like I said, that to me in a Top Gun, it just, the lightness of the frame just makes it a good combination.
The only place you can get that is also with Dennis, the blade frames. I have 2 or 3 sets of those. My son has one. He's 9, and I really enjoy wearing them. They're light. They feel good. That's just what I use, and I have all of them. I have the Copas and the carbon fiber ones, and I use the blade frames. So I really like those. And everyone listening, there's so many different variations of lenses to talk about that it can confuse you. And that's where I am most of the time. And that's why I call Dennis. And that's why, I get someone that knows what they're talking about to tell me what to do. Phil, one thing that you don't hear a lot about, but I think is important to mention is the warranty for Pilla lenses.
Yeah. Well, if there's, I got to tell you that, I mean, we have had over the last 15 plus years, I mean, we've really never run into an issue on a warranty problem. But if there's ever an issue that's our problem on the manufacturing side, we stand behind it 100%. If a lens breaks, which we've never had a lens do that in recent memory, we'll replace it. No issue. We also have a warranty program where, if someone ends up compromising a lens, run over with their golf cart, scratch it, those kinds of things, you can send it in for a warranty replacement for a fee that is less than, the retail side of the equation. But, that particular aspect of it on the frame side, we have a pretty robust warranty program with our frames. If the frame breaks, hinge, any of those kinds of things, we'll replace it. No issue whatsoever. But in terms of, our overall global sales, thank God we don't have someone in our return department dealing with issues. We haven't had to fill that particular, seat.
Yeah. All right. The new set of glasses that's out right now is called the Raptor, and I actually have a pair of these, and they may be the most comfortable glasses I've put on. If I compared them to the X6s and then to my sunglasses that I wear and whatever else, these may be the most comfortable glasses I've put on. But it's not just that. Tell me about them and what they're about and why you made them.
Yeah, I mean, the Raptor is one of those that I'm really excited about. I think it's a phenomenal platform. And we have been in kind of a traditional glass framework for years. We started with our Sebring system way back when we were high def specs, and then we had other iterations like our Hornet, that we worked on with Todd Bender way back, and then we had our Tomcat situation that was just a beautiful pair of glasses that had adjustability. And then we went into our 500 series, which was the newest iteration that we did with Zeiss. And that was a really good platform. But all our traditional glasses over time have always had detuned lenses, so to speak. They weren't our professional grade, top of the line lenses. Our 500 series has Zeiss lenses, but they just don't have the coating technology on them, the pigment technology in them. It's just a different platform that we call color trast. And that level of technological sort of performance is not our Chroma Shift, platform. So this year, when we introduced the Raptor, my dad and I made the decision that we wanted to really bring forth a traditional platform that utilizes two lenses as opposed to a mask like our Outlaw or our Panther, for a guy that really wanted a traditional approach, and put all our high performance lenses in it. And we've never offered that before. So we have the same lens platform that's available in our Top Gun now available in the Raptor. And the Raptor product is really a unique pair of glasses because it is a system that we have three different temple designs. You can either have kind of a traditional cable or, our proprietary fork type of approach that's on our Panthers and our Outlaws, and has been really a proven technical solution over the last, 11, 12 years. And we also have a beautiful Italian acetate bayonet style temple, and it utilizes a rubber sweat bar. But the interesting thing is we went with what's called a floating lens design, so that the lens is actually mounted on a separate element from the front of the glass. So depending on whether your head is bigger or smaller and you're actually manipulating the temples or the front bar of the frame, it does not change the attitude of the lens floating in front of the glass. And then it uses a really beautiful silicone nose piece that is also on our Top Gun. So that comfort factor is just really been elevated from our 500 series. And it was our opportunity, because we've had tremendous success with inserts over the years. The Raptor can use both fully surfaced corrective lenses, meaning, each individual lens, the color of the lens and filter is what the RX element is, or you can go buy a kit that has plano lenses, meaning non-prescription lenses, and then put an insert behind it with your need for prescription. And really, the reason for that was we're pretty excited to be able to bring a traditional pair of glasses to the global platform, where, sending a set of corrective lenses to over to Japan, or sending a corrective lenses to Germany or whatnot, that particular type of business is relatively challenging. But now we have a traditional glass where the insert is literally the same size as the exterior lens. So you can put your prescription in, and now we have a product that we can sell literally in the four corners of the world. So it's a pretty exciting platform for us, and one that, I've worn playing golf, general sunglasses. It's an everyday lifestyle pair of glasses that happens to be a real high performance pair of sports glasses as well. So you kind of get both, best of both worlds. But the big story is we have a traditional glass now that has the entire portfolio of professional lenses. And from a corrective standpoint, it's really a unique technology, because when you start manipulating the attitude of the lens, meaning frame flex and those kinds of things, you actually change the power in the lens, depending on how it sits and how you're looking through the lens. So the floating lens design really is something that's really changed our ability to be able to really, again, deliver a pristine visual experience for people. But I'm glad you like the fit and the comfort, because that's a pair of glasses I wear every day now, and it's just it's a really exciting direction for us to go and take on the traditional market.
Yeah, and they come in different. The frames come in different colors. You could be Elvis Presley and wear the gold ones, or
hey, some gold is in. And
I know somebody's that's gonna make some gold blade frames.
Yeah, I mean, we got gold blade frames being made for Dennis right now. But the gold frame is really, it's a nice pair of glasses. But we have it in black also for everyone who's want a little bit of flash to it. But when you take one of the ED lenses that we have and put it on that particular pair of glasses, like you take an 18 CED and put it on the gold Raptor, it's a damn sharp looking pair of glasses.
I agree.
Dominic Grossi, he bought that from Dennis, like the gold ones with the 18 CEDs, and he wears them around as sunglasses. So,
well, there you go.
so when are you going to actually make some sunglasses? Are you making those yet?
We do have some lifestyle glasses. It's not something that we push a lot, but we have tons of customers that buy our lifestyle kind of glasses. The nice thing about the Raptor is it's going to definitely bridge that. But we've had our executive style that we actually have a lot of pilots that use our glasses. So that particular type of lifestyle approach has done real well for us. But we haven't really focused on doing, per se, a lifestyle collection, other than, we have a dealer of ours in Canada that has done some lifestyle glasses that are exceptional, that utilize the same Zeiss platform lenses in it. So, those are quite specialist for different, lifestyle types of glass. But we as a company have always just really focused on the sport aspect of it, and people have migrated our glasses into lifestyle on their own. Mm-hmm. But we do have products that do address that, certainly with the Pilla lifestyle that's being sold out of Canada, and then also the variety of different traditional glass, like our executive that we put into the aviation space and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I appreciate Phil's expertise, and I mean, I'm like a sponge around him, and it like I always say, what makes a good vacuum cleaner salesman is somebody that knows that vacuum cleaner inside and out and uses it every day. And being a shooter and understanding the product, just helps me, and I couldn't do it without Phil, and I appreciate his support, and he's listened to me along the way, and we fight like brothers. We've known, we're family, and I'm proud to say that.
So what about my glasses case that's supposed to be getting made?
What glass case?
My glass case. You remember I showed it to you at Northbrook. Are we getting that made?
Oh yeah, Phil, I sent you a picture of that smaller glass case. Phil said that we're going to make it. Guys always want to have something where they can put a lot of lenses in a small area.
Oh, you're talking about the folio case for the lenses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're actually making that, Justin. Dennis sent that to me. It's the one that's about 3 by 5. It has the 5 slots in it. Yeah, with a zipper. Yeah, we're actually making that right now. So
nice.
I took Dennis's photo there. He said, "Hey, you still have these?" And I was like, "Well, not really. You like this case?" He goes, "Yeah." So I was like, "Okay, we're gonna go make it." I do agree. It's a nice little compact case, but we have some really cool stuff. Coming down the pipeline. Like I said, we're always 12, 18, 24 months out. But yeah, that case is being made.
Yeah. Well,
see,
good.
Justin, I told you I'd lie for you, not to you.
Yeah. Well, that'll be neat when that comes out. The gold blade frames will be cool too. Is it going to be the shiny gold, like the Elvis gold?
Well, there might be two variations. You'll have to wait and see.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we could sit here and talk about these glasses, like Phil, you said earlier, for hours. And maybe we'll do another one of these and kind of dig more into about lenses and stuff like that. But for now, I think
I'm happy to go as deep as y'all want to go. Like I said, I mean, I can literally talk for hours about this, but this is a like they said, to me, it's not a job. I just love doing it. Certainly have had an amazing experience being able to do it with my dad for as long as we've been able to do it. And I'm truly blessed to have the people that use our product out there, and we really are quite appreciative of all the people who entrust their shooting experience to our glasses. So that's something that we will continue to do, and we will continue to do it because we just love doing it. And for me, I'm kind of the geek in the salad over here because I just get deep in the weeds, and I just love being able to make stuff better. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on. Like I said, it drives our dealers crazy because we're constantly coming out with new stuff and tweaking stuff, but that's really what our customers are looking for, is just how do I get, it's funny, before we go off, I had a world-renowned skeet shooter come to me. He's like, "Man, I needed another quarter of a target on my score for the annual." And I was like, "What? A quarter of a target?" And he said, "Yeah, I need that kind of bump because it would like get me up to," I forget what the number was, but it was a pretty robust number. And he goes, "I think your glasses can help me get there, and I'm going to make a change. Can you help me with lenses, all that kind of stuff?" Call me back, and he achieved that. But that's kind of what really makes us happy is, I'll give you another experience. We started sponsoring Caitlin Connor way back when she was like 12. And she came up to me and said, "I'm going to the Olympics someday." And when she won her world title 2 years ago, I think it was, or maybe it was 3 years now, with the whole COVID thing, I kind of lost, track. And I sent her a text halfway across the world, and I congratulated her for winning that medal wearing our 500 series. And, I got a note from her mother, and it's short note. It wasn't like she wrote me an encyclopedia, but, thanking me for the support. And we had a little piece of that. And that's really what makes this whole thing cool, is we have a little piece of everybody's performance out there where we can participate, that our product helped them achieve that. And it's whether it's at like the local deal or right up to when George won his latest world championship, or Anthony gets his first one, or all those kinds of moments in time that we've been able to participate in some little minuscule fashion. We were part of that. That's really what makes Pilla go, and for us to continue to drive. And that sounds so cliche, but that's why we do it, and we're proud of that.
I wear them. I've always worn them, and, I've always enjoyed them. So I appreciate both of you coming on, taking some time out with me, talking about this stuff. And I'm going to take links to everything that we've talked about, if I can find it online, and post it up in the description here so people have quick access to get into certain things as far as the lenses and the chart that I told you about that Dennis had and that kind of stuff. So, guys, I appreciate you coming on, spending some time with me, trying to clear some things up about these glasses, lenses, colors, stuff like that. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin. We appreciate what you do.
Yes, sir.